Xscape on the Discord asked, why do so many people ask questions instead of Googling search for an answer? I find it faster to get an answer, especially with so many vids around. I don't know, man. You know, a lot of times you just want that human connection. You know, recently I was just chatting somebody up on my own Discord server. Like, over on my Discord server in the, where is it? The Surface RC channel. Oh, great. People have replied. See, over on the Surface RC channel, I was just chatting somebody up, talking about ESCs on this car, and some, you know, like I was like, what does this do? What does this wire do? And he was like, oh, here, I looked up the spec sheet, and it's a output for a high-powered servo. And I could have looked that up too, but like, you just want to talk to a person, you know? You just want to talk to a person. So, yeah. You just want to talk to a person. You want a human connection, right? That I think is the answer. A lot of people would say, oh, it's laziness. I don't think it's laziness. I mean, maybe it's laziness. That's a little bit laziness. Like sometimes when I abuse my position as a content creator to just go ask somebody a question when I could research it. Captain Bry knows what I'm talking about. I asked Captain Bry almost any question about Express LRS, and he graciously answers them. When most of them I could probably find on the Express LRS webpage, but I just can't be bothered. So sometimes it's laziness, but I think a lot of times you just want a human connection. Anyway. Do you have any interest in Cinelifters? What are the possibilities of seeing some Cinelifter reviews and content in the future? You never know, but I've never been that attracted to Cinelifters. Like, Cinelifters carry cinema cameras for cinema people. I'm not a cinema person, and I don't have a cinema camera, and I don't do cinema flying. So, like, there's one type of content I make where I'm an expert, and I'm telling you things from the perspective of an expert, okay? Well, that's clearly not where I'm at with Cinelifters. There's another type of content that I make where I'm doing something fun that I'm bad at, and you're coming along for the ride. And, like, you know, I built a Beast Class quad, a 13-inch Beast Class quad just for fun. It was fun. But it was like $1,500. That's a lot of money. So I don't know. I don't know about that. How would I review a Cinelifter? Would I just fly it around my backyard and be like, yes, it was pretty good? That's not a good review of a Cinelifter. You need to take it out and do some cinema stuff. You need to put like a Z-cam on it or a Komodo and like get some footage and then grade the footage and like, and by the time you're done, you've spent $2,000 on the Cinelifter and $5,000 on the camera, and you post the video, and then what? Like 50 people watch it because not that many people fly Cinelifters. So I don't know. My rule of thumb is if I think it's fun and I want to do it, then I don't care if it gets views. I'll just do it. But, you know, Cinelifters are expensive and they're workhorses. I don't know if they're like fun. That's my perspective today, anyway. Don Dupuis. Thank you for a $10 super chat. Don, setting up my Walk Snail avatar, getting a message on my screen, standby mode, low power. The quad binds but does not arm. Any thoughts? Okay, Don, so standby mode, low power means that the flight controller does not think that the quad is armed. Good news, you told me the quad doesn't arm, so everybody agrees. Everybody agrees that the quad isn't armed. When the quad arms, the goggles should go out of standby mode. And what they're trying to do there is they're trying not to overheat. There's like, as soon as you're ready to fly, we'll go to full power, and then we'll be flying so we won't overheat. But while we're sitting here on the ground, we're going to go to low power mode, and we're going to try not to overheat. So why doesn't the quad arm? That's the question. You should like check that the receiver is working in the Betaflight receiver tab. Check that your aux modes, your arming mode, like check that the switch makes your arming mode activate. and then check if there are any arming status codes in the setup tab. That's sort of the 3 steps when the quad sort of doesn't arm. Number 1, is the receiver getting through to the flight controller? If not, you got to sort that out. Okay, the receiver's getting through. Number 2, does the switch make an aux channel move, and is the aux mode set up so that the quad thinks you're trying to tell it to arm? That's number 2. And then number 3, is there some condition that's preventing arming? That would be in the setup tab. If turtle mode was the problem, El Chingon, that's a good guess, but the quad would still go out of low power mode if turtle mode is activated because it would still be armed. DJI Vista and O3 have a built-in control link, and in some situations this is useful. I think Walksnail and HD0 VTXs would benefit from an inbuilt RC link like ExpressLRS. Do you think this is feasible? Well, I'll tell you this. Ooh, I can share this secret. This was a secret a long time ago, so long ago that it probably doesn't matter if I share it, although I don't think it's ever been officially released. So I guess I'm leaking this information. The original Dominator goggles / Avatar goggles, right? Inside those goggles, there is a solder point for a receiver. And the idea was that you would put a receiver inside the goggles. The receiver would bind to your controller, and the Walksnail goggles would retransmit your control link over the Walksnail digital data link to the video transmitter, which would then output it to the flight controller. In other words, the Walksnail data link would be your control link. But the cool thing about it was that you would install your receiver inside the goggles. So you could use it with different control links. Like probably not every control link, but you could use it with ExpressLRS, you could use it with Crossfire, etc. That pad is in the goggles. Way back when the goggles first existed, I was looking at the inside of the goggles and I was like, what's this? And Drew was like, oh, yes, that's a potential for future development. Don't tell anyone about it. And I held that secret for this long. I think it's probably okay. Seems like Walksnail never developed that feature, so it's a good thing I didn't mention it. Otherwise, you guys would be like, Walksnail, you promised you would do this thing, and then you lied. But they had the idea that they might do it, and they put the hardware in there, and the hardware is still there, just the software doesn't support it. It's clever, but like, what does it save you? What it really saves you is the receiver on the quad. That's it. What is this? It doesn't save you much. Just you don't have to install a receiver on a quad. Saves you $15 and not very much space and one antenna. But potentially, like, there's a lot of benefit to having your control link and your video link be distinct. Because, like, your video can drop out, but you still have control, and that's kind of a big deal. So I'm not sure I, would actually take advantage of that if such a thing did exist.